was virtually, do I say, word for word. And so the confirmation to leave Jos, come to Abuja to start this work was confirmed.
I gave him direction. He said, but I don't have anybody in Abuja. I said to him, when you get back to Jos, get on a bus, go to Abuja. And as you arrive Abuja, go on evangelism. And that was it. The DUNAMIS CHURch was born because I gave him direction. A boy. He said, that person you're talking about is the one who ordained Paul Enenche to ministry. He's not a boy. Stop calling him a boy.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I greet you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. How are you doing? Hope this video meets you well. The video you're about to watch, maybe you have seen it. Maybe you have seen Abel Damina's own. Actually, I've seen that before. In fact, the one I saw before was where Abel Damina was telling his congregation that they should note that nobody should be calling him small boy, that he has been around for a while. You know, that if not for his look, that is not much difference between him and those that we call fathers of faith in Nigeria and in Africa. Well, anyway, when he mentioned the number of years he has been in ministry, it was actually very impressive. You know, I think he should be about 40 years now or thereabout. So I saw the video. Well, I smiled over it because it's not necessary to talk about everything now, but ever since then I've not actually seen reaction from the camp of Enenches. You are welcome to the End Time Truth Television, the channel for the lovers of truth, for the truth of the end time. So if you are a lover of truth, give us a subscription and God bless you. Shalom.
You know, people see me and they think I'm a fly-by-night. I'm not a fly-by-night, guys. I'm not a fly-by-night. I met Pastor Fred, one of my friends in Abuja. I've not seen him for years now. And he said to me, Dr. Damina, you know, please have mercy on the boys. Please have mercy on the boys. I didn't understand what he was saying. It was later on Pastor Philemon was telling me that what the man is saying is that the things you are teaching are too heavy for them. You should calm down small. Please have mercy on the boys. So when Pastor Philemon gave me understanding, I started laughing. So when I started laughing, the guy now said we'll meet later. So when we met later, he said he was in Redeem camp in Lagos, and one senior person in Redeem was telling him that there's this boy in Akwa Ibom, Abel Damina, this boy. So the guy said to him, do you know who you're talking about? Do you know who you're talking about? He's not a boy. Don't be deceived by his physical make. He's not a boy. He said that person you're talking about is the one who ordained Paul Encehs to ministry. He's not a boy. Stop calling him a boy. He's just blessed with a good body. The guy has been around. This guy has been around. This boy has been around. Next year also I should be 40 years in ministry, preaching this Bible. Not reading Bible, preaching it. So I'm not a boy. I didn't just appear. I didn't just emerge. You know, my antecedents are very, very clear. The fathers know it. Those they call fathers. Some of the people they even call fathers of faith in Nigeria are not older than me. They are not older than me. Leave that in. I'm not joking. Listen to me, I'm not joking. So when they are saying Dr. Damina is talking against the fathers, who are the fathers? Am I not a father? In this country, I am a father of faith in Nigeria and around the world. So what are you talking about? If I was in the Nigerian army by now, I would be a general. 40 years in the army, I would be a general in the army. Leave that, we are not boys. Don't be deceived by my face. Then the pastor said, Dr. Damina, the only thing that used to save you is this your bald head. Because when they see this your bald head, they know you're not a small boy. I say, oh Father, increase the baldness more. If that's the way they know that I'm not a small boy. I'm not a small boy. When you hear me talk things, I speak from the weight of my ministerial debt. I'm not a boy. I'm not NYSC. We've been around. We've been around. It's important for you to understand my credentials. We've been around. I'm not just around quiet. We've been around making impact all over the world. You say, Dr. Damina is talking against them. Which fathers? Am I not a father? Most of the people they call fathers are my children. We don't have grandfathers in ministry. Otherwise I would have been a grandfather. So when people say he's talking against the father, ask him which fathers. Is he not a father? Do you know where he has been through? Do you know from where he came? I didn't just emerge. I'm not just an emerging voice. Some people think maybe the reason why I say the things I say is because I'm looking for popularity. Popularity now, I have been popular. I have been popular. If it's popularity, I have done popularity and I have left popularity for the boys. Let me boast a little in my folly. Amen. I have told you, if I was in the Nigerian army by now, I would be a general. And I'm not joking.
But interestingly, I've not seen any reaction from the camp of Enenche, and that may not be to say that they have not heard that, they have not seen it. And sometimes, silence, they say, means consent. All right. So maybe that silence gave Abel Damina the encouragement to go ahead to speak this way the more. So eventually, I saw this. This was actually being uploaded. People were talking about it. So when I saw it yesterday, and something that looked like story told by Enenche, either to corroborate or debunk what Abel Damina has been saying, I paid interest. So now watch and listen to what Abel Damina told his congregation about DUNAMIS and Paul Enenche.
Look at me. Many years ago, Pastor Paul Encehs, and I know so many of you know him, okay, used to be a member of our church. He wanted to go to London to go and read medical science master's degree with his wife, but they didn't have the money and they didn't have the contact. So they came to Uyo with their letters of admission. I still have copies of the letter. And they said to me, we know you are connected in London. We have an admission. We want to go to London to read medicine, so that when we come back, masters, we can start doing rural medical outreach. So please, if you can talk to your contacts to help, even if they can give us scholarship or sponsor us. So I told them, okay, sleep in the guest room. I'm going to pray about it tonight. So I got on my knees and the Lord spoke to me clearly. So I came to them in the guest room and I said, the Lord just spoke to me. You're not going to London for medical missions. You're not going to read medicine masters. The Lord told me it's time for you to start the church. You start the church and the church will grow, and from the church you will build medical teams that will go for medical outreach. And then he said to me, church where? I said, I hear Abuja. I gave him information. I gave him direction. He said, but I don't have anybody in Abuja. I said to him, when you get back to Jos, get on a bus, go to Abuja, and as you arrive Abuja, go on evangelism. And that was it. The DUNAMIS Church was born because I gave him direction.
Before I play the parts that had to do with Paul Enenche and his wife, if you have seen or heard anywhere Paul Enenche had referenced Damina, in the past, because in the past he was preaching the same gospel that every other person was preaching. His own gospel of prosperity was, the extreme, just as what he's doing today also, which would have been very, very fine, very, very good, but he's taking it to extreme. So the man somehow cuts across to me as an extremist. When he was at the part of prosperity, gospel preaching, he took it to the extreme. That is, have you seen where he was, preaching about tithe and the sowing of seed? Oh my God. I think I played that video here last time. It was rough and rugged. So maybe one would say that Abel Damina has been this way, very critical of all the pastors and labeling all of them teachers of error, and he is the only person that is teaching the truth. He has been like this all of the time. Then we will say that Paul Encehs had decided to avoid him in order not to, cause controversy. But he has not always been this way. He was also teaching what others were teaching in the past. Before, according to him, he started studying the Bible for himself and applying the lenses that he is applying now and seeing the Bible from a very different angle. That is why he is seeing everywhere that God said to have spoken, it was said to have spoken in the Bible in the Old Testament, is either he would say it was a demon that spoke to the person who was receiving the message, or that it was an angel that appeared to the person. Anyhow, well, that's not the point. So if you have seen where Enenche, had made reference to Abel Damina as being part of his work, as being part of his journey, please, you can, let me know. And if I can lay my hand on the video too, I would, upload it here. But then this is the stories of Paul Enenche and his wife.
I got into the medical school and my passion became stronger than just being a doctor. For example, when we did anatomy, with anatomy and so on. When you saw a sick person, yes, you wanted to do something far beyond just medicine. I remember many times I was so helpless concerning the state of sick people. You know, I remember I would be sleepless when I got home. I remember when we were doing ward rounds, you know, when you come back on, when you do rounds in the clinic, and every time I noticed that a particular patient died over the weekend, for example, and I was wondering how I could feel like this and practice medicine. I was too emotional. I was too attached to the sick. I knew that it wasn't possible for me to continue like that and survive medicine. So that was what happened. And I began to cry out to God for his help. And then I began to see the sick healed as a medical student. So those were the kind of things that shaped me before entering into ministry. We came to a junction where I just felt, look.
Did you, after the school, did you practice your...
Briefly, like 2 years.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like 2 years.
And then in 1996...
At the same 96, November of 96, the church started on the 10th of November.
Now, if that was the story, if that was the case, if that was how, you know, he ventured into ministry, then it means that the story that Abel Damina told is either not here nor there, or except that I don't understand. So that brings us to the question on how the ministry truly started, and listen to his wife also saying her own story as what the husband did and what herself did when they were not so sure of what to do. And in all these things, Abel Damina never featured in the stories.
My husband came back home. We were both practicing medicine in Jos, and he came back home and said he wants to go and pray. He has a leading to pray. He feels that he's at a junction, and he left to some mountainous areas in the Jos environs, Ghana Rock. He was there for 3 days, no food, no water, in God's presence. But when he left the house, I told myself, I saw his eyes, and this is a serious matter today. So I advised myself to also take a fast and ask God what he has in store for us, so that I'm not absolutely taken by surprise. And amazingly, when he came back after 3 days, the first thing he said is, what did God tell you? And I went, it was you that was going to go and pray. Supposing I hadn't prayed. Fortunately, I had taken the time to pray, and we both had parchments. We had books that we wrote what we had received in. And he said, you read yours first. So I brought it out and read what God told me. And he said, amazing. And then brought out his book and read it. It was virtually, do I say, word for word. And so the confirmation to leave Jos, come to Abuja to start this work was confirmed.
I gave him direction. He said, but I don't have anybody in Abuja. I said to him, when you get back to Jos, get on a bus, go to Abuja. And as you arrive Abuja, go on evangelism. And that was it. The DUNAMIS Church was born because I gave him direction.
In the wife's story, we may begin to think who gave the direction, because she said now that the direction to leave Jos and go to Abuja to start a ministry was confirmed. So maybe not, that the direction actually was given by Abel Damina, and then the couple prayed to confirm that was true or not. This was a pure testimony of how their ministry began, the wife and the husband, and there was no mentioning of Abel Damina in all these things. Now, whatever confirmation that Paul Encehs said he got, now we wouldn't know if it was this encounter, the encounter that Abel Damina claimed that they had, with him, that probably was the confirmation. But I doubt, because if it was, we are Christians, and there is no animosity, no malice here. There's no common ground. Maybe they are fighting for something that should make him to remain completely silent over a man who God used to give him, the path to his life, the path to his, life fulfillment. Because from what you heard, the interview he was giving to the white man there, he was a doctor. He's a doctor. He read medicine and was not, feeling fulfilled, even practicing his profession, the thing he read in school. But he has found fulfillment in this area. So it will not be difficult for him to have referenced that, a certain brother also was used by God to give me direction. Now, I'm not saying that Abel Damina had lied, but then Abel Damina, speaking this to in the public, number one, for me, scores that fact that I said that the man is filled with pride. He just wants to be noticed. He just wants to come across, as the best, as the closest to God, as the best interpreter of the scripture, as the only one that has the authentic spirit of God. Others are fake. Others are teaching rubbish. There is no true preacher except Abel Damina. Now that is pride, that he was one that gave him direction, and ultimately what he was saying, that without him, there would be no dunamis, would not have gotten involved in their ministries. They would have been misled. They would have gone the other way around. But he was the one that gave them direction. So now, eliminating the place of the Holy Spirit, eliminating the place of God. Let's even say that that was the true picture of things, that he was the one that told them, he was the one that, tutored them, he was the one that picked them by the hand and took them to where they would start ministry. I mean, even the story itself is funny. Just enter motor, start going to Abuja. When you enter motor to the place called Abuja, just go there and start evangelism. I mean, that is neither here nor there. But let's say that was what happened. Was he right to have brought it in the open like that, to discuss it like that? And I don't really know what he was trying to achieve in doing that, but you may have a better idea. And like I've been reading some comments of who will always love something that we may not like. So, and those people will be here too. They'll have one or two things to say. Now tell me, please, if somebody had helped you in the past, and there is no concrete evidence that what Abel Damina said is true, but let's say that it happened and somebody helped you in the past and nobody knew about it. It was between the two of you, and suddenly you are reading it on the not even newspaper. Suddenly you came to a gathering of 10 persons and you saw the same person telling them how much that if not because of him, you will not be alive. If not because of him, you will not get job. If not because of him, you will not be eating food. But that is what it can be related to. Tell me how happy you will be. Tell me how okay you will be. So before you type your nonsense, before you defend your God, Abel Damina, relate with this story to yourself and tell us how you would feel if this happened to be you. If you happen to be Paul or a Deborah Enenche, tell us how you will feel. And till today, I still think that the Enenches have been very, very godly about the whole thing. Someone like Sule would have, oh God, would have scattered ground. It would have shouted at the top of his voice. Or Iginla, that one would have. I'm not saying that because of that they are not godly, or that's not what I'm saying, but their nature would have retort. That has not happened. So thank you so much and God bless you. Listen and watch the remainder of the video. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Till then, from me to you, shalom.
In the year of 1979, I had encounters with the Lord. I said it on Saturday. God's servant Pastor Adeboye was in Utuko then, 78 and 79. Young men, we came up, but like young men, we just got influenced away again and just slacked down. But in the high institution in 1986, my life was going in a particular direction. And one night of the 12th of May of 1986, around 2 a.m., my heart was beating so fast. And I had a visitation, and the voice told me, if you die now, where are you going? I said, I don't know where I'm going. He said, but you can know now. Long story made short, within 2 hours, between 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., I rededicated my life to Christ, gave myself over to God in that 1986. It was on the campus, and I began to look for which fellowship, and I have a brother who is still a member of Deeper Life Church till today, and I remembered how he has invited us to Deeper Life several times. And then I looked forward to Deeper Life Campus Fellowship, then became a very fervent member of the Deeper Life Campus Fellowship. We will take buses from the campus to the church in town every Sunday. I became a member of the Deeper Life Choir. I was involved here, involved there. I'm saying all this to let us know that some people think that when they see a person, he just happened. No, sir. We have a history. We didn't just happen. When you see me stand with intensity and speak on holiness, because your company affects your content. Who you hang around with determines what hangs on you. The best thing that God can do for anybody is to bring the right people into your life and to bring them early. I was an undergraduate in the university when I listened
to our father's message titled Unveiling the Realities of the Supernatural Realms. It exploded something in me. I said, who is this person talking so ruggedly like this? Are coming from? And then God brought us into contact with him close to 30 years ago with my wife, after a dream, a vision in the night, where he was pouring oil on my head in the dream. And he came to town where we were in just then, and I looked for him. I said, this was what I saw in the dream. And he said, no problem, anointed me with oil, gave me his contact. From then, when the church started, he was right there at the beginning. Be careful who you follow. It will affect what follows you. Every time you company with giants, you don't take dwarf steps. Beloved brothers and sisters, your source can affect your size. No matter how hard an antelope tries, it can't give birth to an elephant. So, sir, I want you to know that we are excited to be tied to your apron and excited to follow the God that you serve.